Hey everybody, Sam here and
Isaac.
Welcome back to our channel. So in our last video where we covered and showed you guys the construction of our carport, if you have an eagle eye view, or I showed it in that video, you will notice that something is off. The carport did not match our foundation. So the goal of this video is more for me, but possibly for some of you. The goal in this video is to answer who was wrong. Was I wrong? Is my foundation wrong? Or was I told wrong measurements from our project manager at the factory? So I've got my helper Isaac here. He has his notepad and pen. I've got a couple of tape measures. We are going to go around this thing, measure all sorts of stuff, compare notes, and find out if I messed up or if they did. First thing we're going to do is measure the leg spacing of the carport and then measure the concrete pier spacing. Did we do it right? Did they do it right? We're going to measure the left side, write it all down, then we'll measure the right side and write all that down. Alright, measurement number 1. Are you ready?
Yep.
59. Measurement 2, 60. 60. Alright, number 3. 60. Number 4, 60. Oh, these should be 60, several of these. Number 5, what do you guess? 60. Number 6, 60. Number 7, 60. Number 8 is 59. Got it? Alright, I'm going all the way to the end. Alright, 40. And I'm going to have you write 2 letters. FT for feet. Right up next to the 40, do FT.
No, we're moving on to slot 10.
Alright, slot number 10. 56.
56. There we go. 11. Slot 11.
61. 60. 60. 59. 61. 61. 56. Ready? Alright. 40.
Okay.
And then dot 5.
Okay.
And then FT for feet.
I need my glasses off because they're foggy.
Just wait, we're about to be in the sun. Side number 1 is done. Isaac has his notes. Let me show off this notes real quick. All sorts of math going on here. Tons of numbers. Lots of homeschool action in the real world. There you go.
Thank you.
Move you guys over so you can see us do this side. We'll rinse and repeat. 59. Slot 20 is 60. Alright, so let me teach you a little trick. Whenever you're making a table like this, and you have the same number over and over, you can do ditto marks. Let's redo this. That means ditto. It means the same thing over and over. So instead of having to write 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, if I say ditto, you just do the little ditto marks, okay?
Okay.
Make it little though, so I don't think it's the number 11.
Okay.
Alright, what slot we at?
21.
Ditto. 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 A lot easier than writing the number over, isn't it? Ditto. Ditto. 59. 40. Dot 1.
Okay.
FT for feet.
Yep.
55. 59. 60. 59. 63. 59. Ditto. 58. 40. Dot 1. For our next trick, we are going to measure the width of the concrete and the carport structure, probably at 4 different places. Check the overall width and compare it with what I've done. So, here we go. and see how wide it is.
Okay. Hook.
All right, 20. 20. 20. Slot 40. Starting the concrete width. Slot 40. 239. Get ready to stick your foot on it. Right there. The slot 41.
Yep.
Okay. $241. What slot number is this?
42.
Okay. 243. All right, I'm going to overlay a little bit of the results of all of our measurement work, give some, I guess, technical numbers to look at, something other than my face, to point out what probably most people have already assumed, and if so, you assumed correctly. Sam was wrong. The company dimensions are correct. The frame of the carport is dead on 20 feet wide and 40 feet long. It is slightly out of square. This diagonal measured 2 or 3 inches longer than this diagonal, so a little bit off there, but otherwise I can't fault them, can I? So it was me. As we look at the measurements and look at everything down here on this wood side back line, or maybe it was the front field side tallest end, I don't know which, I drifted apart. I think my average drift was 2, maybe 3 inches out of center. That apparently, obviously, was either me moving these form tubes around because they weren't pinned, staked, and locked directly into the ground. We just had them kind of sitting there floating. Or our measurements were off when we did our layout lines. Somewhere along the line of laying out, marking, digging 18 footers, setting form tubes, getting them leveled, plumbed, then pouring them, we just drifted apart. Sorry, it was a little bit of drifting apart. So, bummer, but at least it was my fault, right? I feel better knowing that I messed up and not the company that I paid to be professionals that they messed up. If you notice, the wood line side is a lot more off than the front side. The guys were out here when they were putting it together. They didn't verbally communicate this to me, but I could tell that they were working it out, discussing it, kind of moving the rails around, and figured that this side would be better to visually line it up on the center, close to center, and let this one back here at the woods kind of drift in and out. I'm happy they did that. That's exactly what I would have done if I was putting this together myself. So, A+. No complaints there. They did exactly what I would have done. If I can complain about anything, it is the spacing of the pre-drilled anchor holes that is through the bottom rail. Wasn't disclosed, I didn't ask, and is quite a bit of difference away from the legs. When I got the here's what you want to do for your layouts for your pier foundation from our project manager, he just said set them on 5 feet on center, the outside 4 corners, move them in a little bit, and make them 20 feet wide. So that's what I did, as close as I could. He didn't tell me that the anchoring points are a good 6 inches away from the outside point of the leg. That means on quite a few of these, they are pretty close to the edge. Now, they still got drilled, hammered in, tightened down, zero cracking, nothing is really close to the edge, and so they're still fine. It's just not exactly where I would have put them, but again, the guys that were doing this job, one, had never run into anyone doing pier footers like this before. Congratulations, I'm your first. And 2, they were pre-drilled holes. They had no other choice. Now, on one of these that I'll show you guys right here, this is a pier that is close to the wood side, second from the end, and as you can see, the default factory pre-drilled hole for anchors is totally outside of the concrete form tube. The guys had started looking around in their truck and found some 4-foot rebar, and were going to drive rebar through it and try and anchor into the ground. But then I said, hey, can I jump in here for 1 second? I've got a drill, I've got a 1/2-inch metal bit. Let me drill a new anchoring hole closer to the leg, and let's put in one of those concrete anchors. Thankfully, they were totally game for that. They said, yes, perfect, awesome. You know, that works wonderful. It's what we prefer to do, and that's what we did on that one. Unfortunately, that one happened after they had already anchored this front corner way up here, which was same boat, totally outside the concrete tube, but they went ahead and drove, I think, a 3 or 4 foot long piece of rebar into the ground. That's fine. One being rebar, and then 17 others being bolted concrete anchors, it's not going anywhere. If you guys saw the form build and everything, these are all 4 feet below the ground, beyond what they stick up. 4 feet below the ground. They are down there to add mass underneath the earth to fight any kind of uplift, any kind of big storms we have. This being a certified engineered structure, I think it's rated for 100+ mile/hour winds. To maintain that certification from the company, the footers had to be that deep. So that's the reason why we probably visually went way overboard. It was to match their requirements and to keep our proper certification, so we don't have an 800 square foot metal sail take off down the field and say hi to the neighbors. That would not be a good day for anyone. To go along with the factory anchor holes being pre-drilled and it kind of throwing things off, the carport overhangs the concrete tubes down here on the tall side, and it does not go to the end up here at the short side. That again was the guys who were out here installing it, just working through the problems and hurdles they had on site, and honestly doing the best thing. Sure, visually it's a little bit that it overhangs back here, but honestly I would rather it be back here like they did than up front where you would see it all the time. So again, A+. The crew is awesome. The guys were great to hang out with and talk to. They were very relaxed and okay with me filming stuff, which was great. Worked out to have a good video of assembly. And overall, while it was a long day, at about 9 hours, it was enjoyable. We kept the guys hydrated with Gatorades and drinks and anything they wanted, made sure that they had anything they needed. They had their boombox out here that went dead. I ran a cord out, plugged it up to charge it, turned it back on. Basically, my job was to facilitate them to stay motivated, stay hydrated, and stay working. And I think it worked out pretty good. Well, guys, there you go. Sam's official public video showing that he was wrong. It can never not be said that Sam was wrong. Wait, or that Sam admitted he was wrong. I don't know. Either way, there's my show and tell. It was very important to make this video as an explanation because you saw in the build video how it looked off, and it got a handful of comments, if not more than a handful, and I just wanted to do this honestly as a follow-up. A post-mortem, it's not dead, a after show party. There you go, the after show party. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. We do have plans to shoot our next video doing a pros and cons of this whole experience. I want to go back through and, as much as I probably don't want to, add up everything, how much we have in concrete, how much we have in rebar, materials, possibly including the concrete mixer, gravel, the carport structure itself, and compare that with other things we priced and see what worked out best. Are we still happy with this? Is this structure what we were hoping it was? And what kind of problems or things have we come up with? That video will be coming up in a little bit. We do want to give a little bit of time to sink in and, I don't know, soak up the cosmic rays of the carport, but it is something we're planning to do next. All the same, appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time on the homestead.
So I was sitting in this chair and I felt something like tickling my leg, like near my foot, and I waited a little bit and it kept on tickling me, and I thought it was this because I pulled this out a good long bit and I thought this was vibrating, but no, it was a big old rotten spider.
So what we do? Gotta just skedaddle into the woods.
Yeah.
Hey, show everybody that hat you got. Let's see that. Take those glasses off that hat. That's a little crooked. What's that on your hat? What is that?
It's the Jedi symbol.
That's awesome. Where'd you get that?
My dad made it.
Looks cool. That's what you wanted, wasn't it?
Yes.
Looks good. Real good.
Guys, I'm going inside. See you later.